What's going on, everybody? It's Lyrilusc coming at you with a brand new video, and I probably should have raised the stakes just a little bit in terms of the light goal on the Bird Up deck profile for this month, because we smashed the 50 light goal within the first few hours, which I kind of expected it, I kind of didn't expect it, you know, it's kind of like a 50-50 thing. But y'all did achieve the goal, and so I've decided to bring to you a new separate combo video for Bird Up for the June 2023/July 2023 format. So I will not be going over every single Bird Up combo. Not only are there just way too many to go over in one video, at least for me, but I'm only going to be covering the ensemble combos. If you want to see more in-depth tutorials on the arc-like combos featuring the fabled Beryl and such, I do have a 2-hour-long Bird Up breakdown on the channel. It's like my pride and joy, my blood, sweat, and tears. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out because it has 10 combos in it, half of them being ensemble combos, half of them being arc-like combos, which will be sure to help you out for those types of plays. But with that being said, I don't want to waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get right into my Bird Up combo tutorial for the June 2023 format. Starting us off, I'm going to be showcasing the combo that I more recently came up with, or at least it's new to me. But this is the one I was talking about, in which even without Revolt, you can still get access to Tri-Brigade follow-up on the next turn. And like most of our combos, it starts with Turquoise and Cobalt. So to start, you're going to special summon your Turquoise Warbler because you control no monsters, activating her effect to special summon a Lyrilusc from your hand or graveyard, that being your Cobalt Sparrow. If you start off with Tri-Brigade Fraktall, you can actually send the Cobalt Sparrow, and you'll get an additional disruption on your ensemble at the end, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Now that your Cobalt has been special summoned, you can activate her effect to add a level 1 Wing Beast, and you're going to grab either Sapphire Swallow, Celestine Wagtail. It really doesn't matter as long as it's one of the two, because next you're going to overlay both of these into a Lyrilusc Recital Starling, activating the effect to detaching one of them, doesn't really matter too much which one, and you're going to search the other one. Now, because you control a Winged Beast, you can activate the effect of the Sapphire Swallow in your hand, special summoning herself and the Celestine Wagtail from your hand, remembering to trigger the effect of Celestine Wagtail to search for Lyrilusc Bird Call. Next, you're going to make another copy of Recital Starling by overlaying the Sapphire and the Celestine, activating the effect of this Recital, detaching one to add your Tri-Brigade Nerval to give you access to your Tri-Brigade engine. Now from here, you might expect we go into Utopic Draco feature, right? Well, this combo actually doesn't utilize that engine because while it is a bit more nib-proof, it doesn't really give us access to the follow-up that this combo does. So what we're going to do is we're going to take both of our Recital Starlings and we're going to link both of them off into a Tri-Brigade Farragut up into our extra monster zone. Essentially, we're going to be ending on a similar end board to how Bird Up played before we got the second Recital off, just with the second Recital getting us a search anyway. Next up, we're going to activate the effect of our Farragut in order to special summon our Tri-Brigade Nerval from our hand. You have to use the effect of Farragut to special here, you can't use your normal summon here because you will need your normal summon later, which admittedly is something that is lacking compared to the older Bird Up combos. But you're going to activate the effect of your Nerval, banishing 4 Beast Warrior or Wing Beast from your graveyard, and here's where Fraktall would be relevant, because you're going to banish Turquoise, both Recitals, and your Sapphire Swallow, though if you had Fraktall engraved, you'd banish the Fraktall over the Sapphire, which would give you an additional disruption, though lacking the targeting protection on your ensemble later. But you're going to banish 4 in order to summon your Tri-Brigade Shurug, the Ominous Omen. Now, normally here you could pivot into a Revolt combo by turning these into a Bearbrum, grabbing your Cerberus, grabbing your Karis, and then going off from there. But I'm actually just going to take all 3 of these, and I'm going to go straight into Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess with 3 materials. Hold up, let me get a die for this. There we go, grabbed one of my Spellstone die, tapiocards.com, code Aurora5 at checkout for 5% off, and to support me directly if you want to get dice like this. But you're going to activate both the effect of your Nerval and your Shurug. I like to go Chainlink 1 Shurug, Chainlink 2 Nerval, because Shurug can search what Nerval can search, Nerval can't search what Shurug can search. But we're going to use our Nerval to grab our Tri-Brigade kit, and we're going to use our Shurug. You can grab anything here, but I like to grab DD Crow for an additional disruption on top of my end board. This is where that important normal summon comes in, as I mentioned earlier, because we're going to normal summon our Tri-Brigade kit, and we're going to activate her effect, banishing Nerval, and I like to banish Shurug just so we don't have any bestial targets engraved. And we're going to summon an Ancient Warrior's Oath Double Dragon Lords, doesn't matter where it is, just as long as it's under the Appaloosa. Finally, we're going to activate our Lyrilusc Bird Call, adding Lyrilusc Beryl Canary from our deck to our hand, who can then activate targeting either the Sapphire in case you started with Fraktall, or the Cobalt Sparrow in case you started with the combo we showed, You're going to special summon both of them, locking you into Xyz monsters for the rest of the turn, but allowing you to overlay both of them into a Lyrilusc Ensemble Robin, and because we have the Cobalt Sparrow on field under it, it cannot be targeted by card effects, which is pretty cool. And then don't forget to activate your Celestine Wagtail Engrave to attach itself as material, giving you a third disruption on top of the Ensemble. And this is actually it for the combo, so it's a total of 8 disruptions with 3 here, 1 here, and 1 with the DD Crow in hand. And that's actually quite a few disruptions, and it's really balanced out between things. You don't have like a big format Apo, format Ensemble, and then something else. You have 4 different positions of disruption, which is a lot more important in my opinion than just having a bunch of disruption on 1 or 2 cards, because it can be outed a lot easier by cards like Forbidden Droplet, for example, which is another reason why I think having the DD Crow in hand is so good. Not to mention that it actually gives us a lot of follow-up, because even if we get Dark Ruler or something, for example, the double Dragon Lords can still send the kit for cost. Kit can then dump a copy of Nerval, and then Nerval can add a copy of Fraktall or Karis or whatever to your hand from your deck, so that you can get access to your access code next turn or any other Link monster you want in your extra deck. This is definitely my preferred combo this format because of the follow-up without having to commit to the Berbrom, Revolt, Arclight play, and I think it is a really solid combo, especially for beginners to the bird up strategy. So I know a few of you are probably wondering, what if we do want to make the Utopic Draco future? It's a really strong body, it has the protection, it stops things like Nib, or at least intimidates your opponent out of going for Nib, not to mention it can take a lot of people by surprise, and it can also stop things like Bystials depending on what kind of combo you want to go for with the Fabled Cerberus. Well, that's why this combo I'm going to be showcasing one that actually goes into the Utopic Draco future, rather than going into the Double Dragon Lords, and you get an additional Ensemble bounce instead of going for the DD Crow. Much like the last combo, it starts with Turquoise and Cobalt, though keep in mind, 90% of these combos that start with Turquoise Cobalt, you can also start with Turquoise Fraktall, some of them can start with Bird Call Fraktall, Turquoise Bird Call, and of course Turquoise and Celestine being the most popular. In fact, some combos actually give you an additional disruption if you open Celestine instead of Cobalt, but we're not going to go into that right now. But we're going to start just like before by special summoning our Turquoise Warbler, activating her effect to specialty Cobalt from your hand. We're then going to activate the effect of Cobalt, and we actually are going to grab Tri-Brigade Nerval right off the bat here. So you're going to special the Nerval off of Sapphire anyway, but it's good to grab the Nerval first before going for Sapphire, unless you have certain other cards in hand of course, because having the Nerval means that you can at least get follow-up play if, say, your Recital gets ashed or something. Speaking of which, you're going to overlay both of these into a copy of Recital Starling, detaching the Turquoise Warbler. I don't think it matters here which one you detach, but I like to detach the Turquoise just in case. And now we will add the Sapphire Swallow. We're then going to activate the effect of Sapphire Swallow, special summoning herself and the Nerval, and we're then going to overlay both of these into another Recital Starling. So an interesting thing you can do is if you opened Fraktall instead of Cobalt Sparrow, you can actually go ahead and use the effect of Nerval immediately, banishing the Turquoise Warbler as well as the Fraktall, and you can immediately get your Farragut just a little bit early. And while I do believe it actually gives you 1 less material on Ensemble, it allows you to get a double Dragon Lords on top of your end board, which I think is really nice. Next, we're going to overlay both of these, like I said, into the Recital Starling. Activating the effect, I like to detach the Sapphire first because both of these will be going to the, the materials will be going to the grave anyway, but I like detaching the Sapphire in case they have like a DD Crow or something like that could otherwise stop our Nerval from activating, but we're going to use that detach to add our Lyrilusc Celestine Wagtail. Then we're going to overlay both of these into our Utopic future, and here now because I did not detach the Nerval immediately, we will use the effect of the Nerval in order to search for our Tri-Brigade kit. And now we can go straight into our Utopic Draco future, meaning that we are now protected from Nib, unless they have like Imperm, of course. Imperm Nib was a very popular hand trap combo back in actual bird up format when the deck first came out. I still have PTSD to this day. But next we're going to use our normal summon here, and we're going to normal summon our Tri-Brigade kit. We're going to activate the effect of Kit, banishing the Turquoise and the Nerval from our graveyard in order to special summon our Tri-Brigade Farragut. And here is, as I mentioned, where you would go for the double Dragon Lords instead if you already had the Farragut, by banishing the Sapphire Swallow from the graveyard. Again, you do get 1 less disruption on your Ensemble, but it does gain targeting protection instead, and you get that double Dragon Lord bounce as well. But we're then going to activate the effect of our Farragut, special summoning our Celestine Wagtail from our hand and activating her effect to add the Bird Call. Then we're going to turn all 3 of these straight into our Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, who will then again have 3 materials under her, and we'll then be able to trigger Kit if we would like to, or Farragut if we'd like to. It doesn't really matter too much unless you just want more resources, or if you're trying to cycle a dead card in game 2 or 3 with Farragut. But then you're going to activate your Bird Call to add your Beryl Canary from your deck to your hand, and finally activating the Beryl Canary, targeting the Sapphire, and much like before, you're essentially going to get all 4 of these due to Sapphire's effect to attach from grave on summon. You're going to go right into your Ensemble Robin. Like the last combo, this does end on 8 disruptions, though it isn't as varied as I mentioned before. Again, this is a lot more susceptible to cards like Forbidden Droplet or any other forms of singular removal. The Ensemble does not have targeting protection, nor does Appaloosa, so you could lose 3 or 4 disruptions from a single imperm, which isn't like super optimal in my opinion, but this does play around Nibiru. For the more varied and in my opinion more powerful end board, here's a little bit of a speed run of the Fraktall version of this combo. You're going to activate your Fraktall in order to send your Cobalt Sparrow from your deck to the graveyard, then using your Turquoise Warbler to special the Cobalt Sparrow back from the graveyard because she can summon from hand or graveyard, triggering the effect of Cobalt to add your Tri-Brigade Nerval, overlaying both of these into your Recital, activating her effect to add the Sapphire Swallow, activating your Sapphire Swallow to special herself and the Nerval. Here's where things get a little bit different, activating the Nerval by banishing the Turquoise Warbler and the Fraktall from grave in order to summon your Farragut. Where is my Farragut? You're going to summon your Farragut to your extra monster zone already. Next, overlay both of these into your second copy of Recital Starling, activating the effect detaching the Sapphire in order to search for the Celestine, overlaying both of these into a Utopic Future, which will then trigger the effect of Nerval, triggering the effect of Nerval in order to grab your Tri-Brigade Kit, and then turning your Utopic Future into a Utopic Draco Future. Make sure you do this before continuing with the combo. Plenty of times I've accidentally forgotten to make Utopic Future, and I don't think it's actually bitten me just yet, but it totally can if your opponent has a nib and you just forget to go into the Draco Future. But you're then going to normal summon your Tri-Brigade Kit, activating the effect of Kit, banishing the Nerval and the Sapphire Swallow because she's the most expendable out of the ones in the graveyard, and you're going to summon your Ancient Warrior Double Dragon Lords. Next, activating your Farragut to special your Celestine Wagtail, who will then search for your Bird Call, then using the Kit, the Celestine, and the Farragut for that 3 material Appaloosa from before, and then finally using the Bird Call to add your Beryl Canary, who will then special summon the Cobalt, and you will also get the Celestine Wagtail as material, all of these going under an Ensemble Robin, with 3 materials here. And while it is the same amount, quote-unquote, of disruptions, it is a lot more varied in where they're coming from, as well as having just more ways to deal with the opponent's threats instead of just relying on them special summoning 4 times. You can use your Double Dragon Lords, which will get a free bounce of anything, which I think is really, really good. Alright, y'all, if you're still following, here's where things get pretty complex. So a combo I came up with after I think a whole day almost of labbing involves opening Fraktall, any tri-type, and then any random cards in hand. You only need 2, but I'm just going to show 3 just to show a full hand, quote-unquote. And I had a few combos involving this kind of opening before, usually involving Arclight and Revolt that you could also swap into an Ensemble. But this is one that I found that works really well with the Lyrilusc cards because the other one actually didn't utilize any Lyrilusc cards mostly. But let me tell you, this combo is super creative and super fun to pull off. So you're going to start by activating the effect of your Fraktall, who's then going to send your Kit. Kit is then going to send your Nerval, and you're going to add your copy of Tri-Brigade Karis from your deck to your hand, going through the entirety of the main deck Tri-Brigade engine. You're then going to activate the effect of your Karis, discarding your DD Crow. Well, in this case it's DD Crow, but it can literally be any Beast Warrior or Wing Beast monster, it does not matter. You're then going to special summon that Karis with that effect, and you're then going to use Karis banishing all 4 from your grave. This is a huge glass cannon play here, because 1 imperm and it's probably over, but you're then going to summon your Tri-Brigade Shurig. Next, you're going to take both your Shurig and your Karis, and you're going to go into a Tri-Brigade Bearbrum, triggering the effect of your Shurig in order to search. In the Revolt combos, it's usually Cerberus here, but you're actually going to add a Cobalt Sparrow. And you might be wondering, what's the point of going Bearbrum here if you're not going to search for Revolt? That's the best part of Bearbrum, right? Well, Bearbrum's best effect isn't even the search, but it's the effect to special summon. because by discarding any 2 random cards from your hand, it doesn't matter, you can target your Tri-Brigade Nerval that's currently banished, and you can special summon that Nerval back to your side of the field. Then you can activate the effect of the Nerval, banishing the Karis and the Shurig, in order to summon a Tri-Brigade Farragut from your extra deck. Farragut can then use her effect in order to special summon from your hand. In this case, we're going to summon our Cobalt Sparrow that we searched, activating her effect to grab the Lyrilusc Sapphire Swallow. Then, instead of going for a Recital here, and then waiting to go for a Revolt, we're actually going to go straight into our Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess for 2 materials here, and I know this seems confusing, but please bear with me, because we're then going to take our Cobalt and our Nerval and go into a Recital Starling, and Recital Starling's first effect can actually come into play now. We're going to use her effect to make Appaloosa gain 600 attack points, putting it at 2200 attack. And I know that's not enough for an extra negate, but that's only for now, because we're going to activate the effect of our Recital Starling, detaching specifically the Cobalt Sparrow in order to search for our Celestine Wagtail. Next, we're going to activate our Sapphire Swallow, special summoning herself and the Celestine Wagtail, triggering the Celestine Wagtail to grab the Bird Call from our deck to our hand. Next, we're going to overlay into our second copy of Recital Starling, and we're going to go Chainlink 1 Recital Starling, targeting the Appaloosa to make her gain more attack, and then Chainlink 2 the effect given to it by Sapphire Swallow, targeting the Cobalt Sparrow in our graveyard in order to attach it as material. This means Appaloo is going to gain 900 attack instead of 600 here, making it gain a total of 1500 attack, putting it at 3100 attack, just 100 attack shy of a 4 negate Appaloosa. But 3 negates with additional attack, meaning that it can't be beat over as easy, is also pretty damn good. Next, we're going to activate the effect of our second Recital, detaching the Cobalt Sparrow, or anything to be honest, it doesn't really matter which one you detach, but you're going to add your Turquoise Warbler from your deck to your hand. Next, you're going to overlay both your Recital Starlings in order to go into your Utopic Future, and subsequently your Utopic Draco Future. After this, you're going to activate your Lyrilusc Bird Call, adding your Beryl Canary from your deck to your hand, and special summoning your Turquoise Warbler with the additional part of the effect. This will trigger the effect of your Turquoise Warbler, targeting the Sapphire Swallow, or doesn't target, sorry, but getting the Sapphire Swallow out of the graveyard, and you can then overlay both of these into your Ensemble Robin, which will then trigger to attach from Grave, and you'll also get the attach from Celestine, meaning TLDR, you're going to have 4 materials under this Ensemble Robin, meaning you have a total of 8 disruptions here. And this is what you get off of just Fraktall and any Tri-type plus 2 cards in hand, and it's a bit glass cannon-y, I'll admit that, but I think it's actually really powerful, and it does have some follow-up at least, because you don't have to use your Beryl Canary. Admittedly, you do get the targeting protection and the additional material under your Ensemble for a total of 5 materials and 9 disruptions, but I like keeping the Beryl Canary in hand for additional follow-up in order to go for a Zeus play. And fun fact, if this final card in hand is something like a Fraktall, you can actually normal summon that because you didn't even need to normal summon, and you can use the effect to banish 2 from Grave to summon a double Dragon Lords for a 9th disruption. I think it's a pretty neat combo line for an opening hand that a lot of people just associate with like Appo Revolt for 3, and that's just one of the many combinations you can do with it. Alright, the final combo I want to talk about today is definitely an interesting one, because you're probably staring at this hand like, Aurora, what are you making off of just Beryl Canary and Cobalt Sparrow? Well, let me tell you, you can actually make a pretty scary end board with a little bit of follow-up for Zeus off of just this combination and being Xyz locked most of the turn. And it all starts by normal summoning your Cobalt Sparrow. You're going to link that Cobalt Sparrow off into Salamangreat Almirage, and this combo is one of the main reasons why I keep Almirage in the extra deck despite so many people telling me to cut it. This is then going to be followed by Beryl Canary, targeting the Cobalt Sparrow in Grave to special both of them from the graveyard, and then locking me into Xyz for the rest of the turn. However, it allows me to search off of Cobalt Sparrow here, and I'm going to grab Sapphire Swallow from my deck. Next, I'm going to overlay both of these into an untargetable Recital Starling, who is then going to use her effect, detaching any of them, it doesn't really matter, to grab the Celestine Wagtail. Next, we're going to special both the Sapphire and the Celestine Wagtail off of the Sapphire effect, triggering the Celestine to grab what else but Lyrilusc Bird Call. Next, we're going to make another Recital Starling, Where Have I Seen This Song and Dance Before, using the effect of Recital, detaching anything to grab a Turquoise Warbler from our deck to our hand. Of course, we're going to take both of these Recital Starlings and overlay them into a Utopic Future and a Utopic Draco Future, and we're going to wrap up this little combo by activating Lyrilusc Bird Call, grabbing the second copy of Beryl Canary. If you're not playing the 2 copies of Beryl Canary, feel free to grab literally any other Lyrilusc that isn't Turquoise Warbler for follow-up, because you want to special summon the Turquoise Warbler from your hand off of the effect of the Bird Call, triggering her effect to special summon the Sapphire Swallow from grave, and TLDR, you're going to get all of these under your Ensemble Robin, meaning that off of just Cobalt Sparrow and Beryl Canary, and I'm pretty sure it works off of the Celestine and Beryl Canary as well, you're ending on 4 disruptions on the Ensemble, Utopic Draco Future to negate and steal a monster, All Mirage to tribute itself during the draw phase to protect your Ensemble from being destroyed by card effects for the turn, and a Beryl Canary for a follow-up Zeus play. Well everybody, it seems like that is going to do it for my updated Bird Up combo tutorial for the June 2023 format. Again, a lot of these combos and more you can see over in my Bird Up breakdown. Be sure to check that out if you haven't already for a complete comprehensive guide to Bird Up as well as the combos. And I do want to say thank you all for the support on the most recent deck profile. It's already hit 1,000 views as of recording this, which is going to be a few days before the video actually goes up, so yeah, thank you all seriously. But with that out of the way, that's going to do it for the video. If you liked it, please sure to leave a like, as I'll split this video and the channel into 2 committed. And if you like this content and you want to see more like it, like the rest of my combo tutorials, then perhaps consider subscribing, because we're going to 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2023. Not to mention it supports the channel more than anything else, and it's absolutely free. And again, if you want to support me directly while also getting some awesome TCG merchandise in the process, check out Tapio cards in the link down below. Use code Aurora5 at checkout for 5% off and support me financially. But once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Aurora, signing off.